what's the most useful way to really understand the ketamine state as you encounter it on your journey? Many folks these days look to science to provide an understanding. So what does science have to say? Well, there are many branches of science, each with its own particular language. Ketamine is a collection of subatomic particles. These particles exist as distributions of probabilities of being located in certain positions in space, and when a measurement is made, ketamine is a molecule comprised of 16 hydrogen atoms, 13 carbon atoms, 1 nitrogen atom, 1 oxygen atom, and 1 chlorine atom. An NMDA receptor antagonist, ketamine is thought to preserve subcortical and thalamic activity while altering cortical processing when given systemically at subhypnotic. Ketamine provides rapid relief from major treatment-resistant depression for many patients. Now we're getting somewhere. If ketamine can wipe out major depression, we'd like to understand how it can accomplish this. Ketamine appears to have a unique mechanism of action involving glutamate modulation via actions at the N-methyl-D aspartate and amino-3-hydroxy-5-methyl-4 isoxazole propionic acid receptors, as well as downstream activation of brain-derived neurotropic factor and mechanistic target of rapamycin. Okay, here's a way to understand ketamine so you can use it more wisely and effectively. This explanation blends science and yoga, an ancient technology of the body-mind. Ketamine simulates a near-death experience. That feels significant, but is there science backing it up? It turns out there is, from surprisingly different sources. In 1997, research scientist Dr. Carl Jansen published a paper entitled "The Ketamine Model of the Near-Death Experience." He suggested that ketamine mimicked a naturally occurring chemical within the body that was released during near-death experiences in order to protect the brain. This hunch was based on brain science. Then, in 2019, a team of a dozen scientists compared trip reports from the Erowid database, reflecting experiences with over 100 different substances. They compared those with reports of near-death experiences. They programmed a computer to look for similarities in the language, and they found, by far at the top of the list, as the substance with effects most similar to a near-death experience, was ketamine. Ketamine simulates a near-death experience more than any other substance. Science remains baffled on many issues involving NDEs, but there are some general conclusions. Movement through something like a tunnel toward light is a common theme, for example. Aspects of a person's life and deep memories are often seen with surprising clarity. And many folks experience positive, transformative effects that last. While science does not tell us how to make the most of this opportunity, how to best navigate this simulated NDE, we can look to Tibetan dream yoga for that. This ancient yoga teaches practitioners to apprehend the dream, which means to know that they're dreaming so they can practice within the dream. The ultimate goal is awareness while the person is dying, so they can navigate their rebirth according to the Tibetan belief system. But regardless of what one believes about reincarnation, the practitioners of Tibetan dream yoga discovered the experience of dreaming bears some similarity to the experience of dying. Practices can be performed within these states that can be highly beneficial. In fact, one master of Tibetan dream yoga said, "Any practice conducted within the dream state is 9 times as effective." can a user of ketamine retain awareness and practice within the ketamine state in the same way the Tibetan dream yogi benefits from practicing within the lucid dream? Can someone who practices this way boost the benefits they receive from ketamine? Here is a practice inspired by Tibetan dream yoga, adapted for the ketamine state. In dream yoga, the practitioner imagines the letter Ah at their throat. They don't just imagine it, they hear its sound, Ah. And in doing this, the jaw and throat naturally relax into this position, Ah. This combination of senses, visualizing the letter, hearing its sound, feeling it in the jaw and throat, acts to focus the memory in such a way that the person becomes much more likely to realize their dreaming and to remember the dream. They will have the presence to conduct healing practices within the dream state. That's dream yoga. We can add two things to this practice to make it ideal for the ketamine state. First, we'll do some deep, relaxed, conscious breathing. Inhalations deep from the belly, exhalations just spilling out, letting go. You can feel how it naturally leads to the state. After we've powered up with deep breathing, we'll hold the sound, visualization, feeling, as our exhalation travels all the way to the bottom until the lungs are empty. It looks like this. After, say, 5 minutes of deep belly breathing, it's and then in some sense, we are working with the near-death experience energy, surrendering and letting go. The final could be seen as a rehearsal for a peaceful last breath. In this way, we are working skillfully with ketamine's powers. We are raising the chances of peak mystical experiences that have the capacity to produce long-lasting, positive transformations. Whether following a near-death experience or a ketamine trip. Now, this peak mystical experience cannot be adequately described in words. This claim is made by virtually every mystical tradition. So if we return to the question, what is ketamine at the deepest level? If the experience it produces is ineffable, then how can the question be answered? This is not the same as saying we don't know, or we don't understand the question, or it depends what kind of scientist you ask. In this mystical territory, it's the only way to understand is through direct experience.